Welcome to the very first episode of Frames of the Future, a brand new podcast presented by the Eleanor International Film Festival. This podcast is dedicated to connecting with filmmakers and creatives from around the world, offering an inside look into their projects, their process, and the stories behind the work. We believe every artist deserves the opportunity to share their creative vision with an audience, and Frames of the Future was created to do exactly that. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, feel free to DM us or email us at contact@eleanorrosefilmfestival.com. The Eleanor Rose International Film Festival is a global celebration of bold, innovative storytelling, bringing filmmakers from around the world together in the heart of Pennsylvania. Taking place May 29th through 31st, 2026, at the historic Roxy Theater, Northampton. The festival features theatrical screenings on the big screen, a glamorous red carpet experience, exclusive networking events, and insightful talks and Q&As led by industry professionals. Whether you're an emerging artist or an established filmmaker, Eleanor Rose is where stories connect, ideas collide, and the future of film takes center stage. In today's episode, we're excited to welcome filmmaker Ethan Barron. Ethan Barron is a senior TV and film student at DeSales University. He's a passionate writer and award-winning filmmaker. His most recent film, Dreams to Believe in, is a silent romantic film about a hopeless romantic who has a dream about meeting his soulmate and then goes on a journey to find her in the real world. This is Ethan's second time submitting his film to the Eleanor Rose International Film Festival. Hear about his creative process and what it took to bring his film to life. Ethan, welcome to Frames of the Future.
Hello.
Um, Hello, thank you. Now, I understand you have produced a very diverse list of films: poem short, Who Will Be There for Me, thriller short, Diversion, comedy short, Talk, to just name a few. What made you want to write a silent romantic film?
My dad, I was going through a rough period during the time before this film was conceived, and my dad, in order to make me feel better, what he did was he took me to Dairy Queen so he could sort of talk to me and calm me down.
Mhm.
And my dad always had this fascination about this film I made called Memories. And Memories was my first poem film in which it was about a student who was talking about how it was good to focus on the present because eventually it would become a memory. So it was like a state in the moment type of film. And in this film, it had a match cut where I would get up and it would go into like this other world. And my dad loved it so much, he would tell me over and over again, he'd say, Ethan, I want you to make something that pushes this further, this concept further into an actual film. I said, okay. And then he introduced me to a song called Dreaming by Johnny Burnett. It's an old song, and it's a song about a guy who's dreaming about finding his soulmate. And so I took the song and I took the inspiration of Memories, and I basically put it together to make Dreams to Believe in what it is now.
Yes, did that inspire like kind of the beginning of your film and the end of it with, your main character going into this world and then like leaving the world?
Um, so most of the inspiration for the character and the fact that he goes into this other world mostly just revolves around the simple desire to find our soulmate. Like me, for example, I'm a hopeless romantic. I have that desire. So it's like, sometimes you will just lay down and you'll say to yourself, man, I really wish I had someone. And you sort of imagine this, scenario where you do meet that perfect person. That's where this transition from the real world to the dream world comes from. It really just stems from that simple desire and how to expand that desire into a narrative piece.
Yeah, yeah, totally get that. And you mentioned about like before in the past, you've mentioned how you hope audiences think about the film's message long after the credits have rolled. What message do you hope audiences take away after watching your film?
Never stop dreaming. There was a cut text piece from the film originally at the very end. There's the part where, well, actually, I shouldn't spoil it. So near the end of the film, there's text that was supposed to come up saying, no matter how far you are, no matter where you're at, no matter the trials we go through, one day we'll eventually meet each other. And because the film centers a lot around that, I guess, struggle and pursuit to find the love of your life, I want people to understand, like, even if there is failure or strife, that you shouldn't stop having that dream because of maybe a failed relationship or multiple failed relationships, or just because the dating pool is small. Like it's something where if you want to find love, you should continue to pursue that until the day you find it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that. I totally got that from your film, like to not get discouraged if it doesn't happen right away, to just keep going. Yeah, I really liked that message that you included. And yeah, I feel like yeah, that was a really strong message. And I also wanted to talk about how you made it, you made it a silent film. And I feel like silent films aren't made very much nowadays because sound's such a big thing. And, mu with that, music plays a huge role. Like, especially, I really enjoyed the scene where he finally finds her. I mean, spoiler, but he
Oh,
finally finds her, and she kisses another guy, and it turns into this like dramatic heartbeat. And it was such a strong, like a strong dramatic tone. Like really set the like it was like almost the climax set the tone for the film. And what was it like shooting that scene with Timothy Grimm and then editing it with him together in the post-production room?
well, I told Tim that this scene needed to hit the hardest out of any scene because it tells the most important message when it comes to finding love, which is that it's not always going to work out with the person that we're chasing. It could be in a relationship. You think you've met this person, right? We're spending two-thirds of the film focused on this one woman, right? And so the audience, are initially thinking like, okay, it's going to be her. It's got to be her. And when he finds her, that's the happily ever after. And then boom, right? Like you're 6 minutes into this 9 minute film, and that's not the case. We really wanted audiences to go to gasp. We wanted audiences to go, oh my goodness. And so when shooting that scene and editing it, we really just wanted to make it the highest note of the film because that's where the most crucial message lies, which is that sometimes it doesn't work out with the person we want to be with.
Yeah. And how was it like directing your actors through that scene?
So it was a conjoint effort between me and my assistant producer and acting coach, Michelle M. Charles. We were on a time crunch, so we needed to sort of split the directing role into two. She was also my first AD, and what we did is she would direct. I think she directed the guy because he was really shy. So I felt like he could use more of that professional touch where I would focus on Sarah's role. And we just sort of told them like this is a moment where you two are happy together, you two are just waiting for each other, and really preparing them to act as if they had known each other for years. And then with Aiden, who plays as the hopeless romantic, we really needed to heighten that sense of disappointment and betrayal because again with that whole we're 6 minutes into this 9 minute film, the audience is expecting one ending. And we were telling him, like, when you see this happen, everything crumbles. We need to see that everything we've built up to this point crumbles as if like everything we had shot prior couldn't be used anymore type of crumble. And that's how we directed that scene was we had one set of actors focus on just being intimate with one another and being in the moment in the present happy with one another, and then this other actor just watching as everything he once hoped and wanted suddenly fade like that. So
Right,
that was
right.
really, yeah.
Yeah. And the actor you're talking about, that's Aiden Clare, right?
Yes, Aiden Clare.
Yes, and he worked with you on Talk. What was it like as director, like working with him on set for the second time?
It was interesting because initially because I used to always act in my short films. However, at the time Tim was like, you're not going to act this time because you need to focus more on your directing. And so I was like, okay, fine. And I don't know, Aiden just had that look, and he had that look that I felt like audiences would like. I felt like he was just looked like a character actor. So I chose him. And working with him again, this time as a main role, it was really nice because I know Aiden personally as a friend. Like I know he's acted in other projects before, but he's not an actor per se. Like he doesn't do it professionally. Um, so it was really nice just to basically bond with him and and really um put him, I felt, in a spot that he deserved to be in, not in the side character role, but in the main character role. Because I felt like he was just good for it, you know?
Yeah, no, he was incredible. Like his acting with, no dialogue and just full on face expressions. It was so moving. And yeah, I definitely think that was a great choice. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I also want to talk about the costume design. So in the film, you have the hopeless romantic and the beloved character wear very formal attire in the colored scenes, but then in the black and white scenes, it's much more casual. How did the story influence the costumes you chose?
So with the story, it's about reflecting the interior of the person in the world that they're living in. So when I initially conceptualized the black and white scenes or the real world, I wanted that to be very gritty, just very bleh, very sad, very empty. And to externalize the interior of the character, which is loneliness and being rugged, and you would obviously look a little bit more on like the homeless end, we'll put it in that way, where it's like you have beaten clothes, like he's wearing a backwards shirt, right? Like that's not really attire you would see someone wear on the daily normally. Stuff that would make him kind of just look beat up. And then in the dream world, because everything is so perfect, because everything is so beautiful, and it's a romantic scene. Like this is the most romantic it can be. The tuxedo and formal wear suits that perfectly because we are in that zone of happiness. So we have two contrasting set pieces here, one that represents the loneliness and sorrow versus one that represents the happiness and fulfillment of the character, and that's where each attire stems from.
Gotcha. Yeah. And did like who, I guess, did anyone help you with like choosing the costumes, or how did you find these costumes and like come to this conclusion of where it was at? Yes.
So I was the one who came up with the costume ideas. In order to get the tuxedo, I needed to go through my university's theater department because they have spare tuxedos in their warehouse room. And I just asked the head of the costume department, like, hey, I'm looking for a tuxedo. Can I borrow one? They asked for the measurements. I give them the measurements, and then we went to their storage unit and we pulled out the costumes there. The dress came from Sarah directly because she owns that, and also the other dress that Erica wore, that was also from the DeSales theater department as well.
Gotcha. Wow, that's so nice that they like provide that all that for you guys. Um, yeah, and with that being said, I know you mentioned Sarah's role, the beloved. That drawing of her, it was also your movie poster as well, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I that was an incredible drawing. It was so impressive. Like who drew, I really want to know who drew that.
So that was Sarah's friend. I was thinking about who I was going to get to draw that image because it's something that's very important to the film. It's something where, we need to externalize his desire for this woman. And I was telling Sarah about it, and she was so invested in it. And she said, I have a friend who can draw the poster for you. And I'm like, or draw the drawing. And I was like, really? You have one? And she's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, that would be great. And then she showed the poster, the notebook drawing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is money right here. Like this is gonna add so much value to the film. Um, and so yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah, and then why did you choose to have it be a drawing and not a picture? Because I know that in the one scene with the matchmaker, she shows like pictures of girls, and you could have easily, shown, oh, like here's a picture of what she looks like, and maybe the matchmaker could find her, like be more helpful. Like, why was it a drawing?
Well, the thing is, with if we were to have a picture, it would assume that he's first of all met her in real life, which he hasn't. Another thing is, I feel like it would have kind of been creepy for a guy to just randomly have a picture of a woman somehow that
True.
he's seen before. With the drawing, it's more about pouring your heart onto a page, waking up from a dream and remembering every single detail about this woman that you love. and being able to write that down on a notebook instead of just going click, I felt like that just conveyed more romance than a picture would.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that the drawing was a good like choice because it was just it felt more like real, like, oh, it's coming from his remembrance of her and like the love, like love is, supposed to be remembered, not really seen, it's really like a feeling than like
mhm.
what it is on like externally. So I really liked that drawing choice of yours. And I also want to talk about I just want to like mention like the music once again, like how did you go about since it was a silent film and everything, like how did you go about choosing the music and what moments needed to be, more dramatic, more upbeat? Like how did you go through that in post-production?
So I went to my coworker from Giant. His name is Ramon Jorge, and pretty much because he told me that he makes music sort of out of the blue, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you make music?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And then I'm like, "You need to make music for my film." Um, and pretty much he was very nervous at first because he had never produced music for a film before. And it was actually to a point where he considered leaving because the pressure was a lot. But he told me that, due to my encouragement to keep going, that's why he stayed. And so I decided that the best course of action was to go to his house and we would go through the music beat by beat, act by act. And so what happened, we took a song called Farewell Life by Arn Anderson, as well as several other instrumentals, emotional instrumentals, and we decided to put our own spin to it. We have the real world scenes, which are more melodramatic, melancholic, and then the dream world sequences are all happy, um, you know, uplifting music. Um, just again those contrasting tones. We wanted both worlds to really, really separate themselves from one another. So in that case, that's how we came up with the music for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the world settings. They did feel like two completely different worlds contrasting each other, fighting each other, going back and forth. Yeah, and I definitely think that the music reflected that. Uh, and this is your second time submitting and attending the Eleanor Rose Film Festival, right?
Yes.
Okay. How has the Eleanor Rose Film Festival helped you as an aspiring filmmaker?
Oh wow. So uh I'm currently an intern for Jacob Jones in the Eleanor Rose International Film Festival, and the graphic design experience I have, I made things such as the website and we worked together on the logo. I mean, it's priceless, and going on to judge the films and learning how to observe and critique and also writing the marketing scripts, right? Like it's such a diverse array of tasks to do that sharpen so many different skills. And as a filmmaker, I mean, it's like you'd be crazy not to take an internship like this seriously. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, to me, it's priceless. And I can't wait to see how, and also Jake's a great connection in general, like he knows people, he's been in the industry, so he knows what he's talking about. Um, and just, it's like, well, having both a mentor, a boss, and a friend at the same time. I think that's what really makes all of this work out so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk me through your first time attending and submitting to the film festival and what that was like and any advice you'd give to filmmakers out there who want to submit their own work?
So my first time, I will admit, because I'm more of a antisocial type of person, I was definitely nervous. I was excited obviously because my film talk was going to be featured in this festival, and it's a new experience. So I was very happy to see the turnout of people. There was a lot of people compared to other festivals I've been to, where maybe weren't as many people, but this one had a really good turnout. And just seeing people recognize my film, like my film. I had someone say that my film was their favorite, that they really liked the one take nature of it. um and then approaching Jake, and introducing myself and sort of making a connection there. It Eleanor Rose to me, it felt like a community place. It didn't feel like a film festival where you go there and you just sort of watch films, you clap for them and then you leave. It felt like a place where you could really talk to the filmmakers and speak to the host. I haven't, as of yet, I haven't really been able to connect with a host the way I connected with Jake. And for filmmakers, I mean, submit, like this film festival, we're trying to make this a big film festival, right? We're trying to, really, really grow it. Um, and I think being featured on such a advanced tech screen in a historical theater amongst many, many films, high quality films, it's a gift, and it's such an honor to have that representation.
Yeah, and you're now going into your second year. Is there like anything you're looking forward to? Anything you're going to do differently than you did the first year? Like, what's your mindset going into this second year attending?
Well, I always look forward to feedback. I really want to know how Dreams is represented. I want to know how it does. If people like it, if people maybe don't like it, stuff like that. I want to see how well it does in the competition. I'm not. I have a motto, which is to not go for the awards because awards are always subjective. That's just the truth about all film festivals and all of filmmaking. But I believe that Dreams has a possibility of being up there. I just want to see really its turnout. I want to see what people think of it. I want to see if people have feedback that I can improve for my next project. It's something where I just wanna oh, I just want to see the people. That's as much as I can say on that one.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, we're nearing the end, but I did want to ask you, what was the biggest challenge when it came to creating Dreams to Believe in?
100% the production itself. Starting all the way from the beginning, there's so many locations and Dreams to Believe in. You have the Quakertown Train Station Historical Society, you have East Penn Railway, you have Main Street Bethlehem, you have Minzy Trail Bridge, a walkway near the Minzy Trail Bridge, right? There's so many areas in Bethlehem. And the thing is, it was my first time getting all of those locations. I had never ever asked the Bethlehem Borough of Recreation for permission. I had never done any of that. It was always within the confines of my university. So, excuse me. The real thing is, how am I going to get the money? Who am I going to ask? And that was a process. It took 3 months to get everything I needed to together because it was something that we were thinking of over the summer. And then, of course, on-set complications, finding out. I remember the first day we had a hard time figuring out where to park, and it wound up we were like 1 hour and 30 minutes behind schedule. So I needed to damage control that. And through us working together and being a cohesive unit, we really were able to push through and make it the product that it was today. And we couldn't have done that without the team that we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and that definitely shines in your film. Like you can see the hard work that everyone put into that. And one last question, what was your favorite part? The development, the production, the directing, the editing? What did you love
Ooh,
most?
wow. That one's a toughie. I'm gonna have to go with the editing because in the editing, you're literally watching the pieces of your film come together. It's literally the creation. Like you put in all this hard work on shooting, pre-development, getting your actors and crew together. What is the end result going to look like? And when you're putting that together in the editing room, it's like you just see that final product and you see essentially this new creation. And I think that's one of the most exciting part of films is seeing the final piece. What did this all accumulate to? What did this all come to? And so I think that paid out really well.
Yes, it definitely did. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us. This is Frames of the Future. I'm Ashley Kane, entertainment journalist.